Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Yoruba Ronu series. I am your host for tonight. I am Olapeju Ayola. I want to apologize for our lateness today. We are 1 hour behind Nigerian time, so we have daylight saving. Currently, it's 8:05 in the UK. So we're very sorry. Going forward, we'll be running this program 8 p.m. UK time and 9 p.m. Yoruba land time. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic regarding what is happening globally, similar to what we discussed 2 weeks ago, where we're contrasting the event, global event, and what Yoruba can learn from it. And we're hoping that you will be here today to pick up some lessons and to understand why all this contrast, it's very, very similar, and it's important for Yoruba to learn from. And I know there will be people who are for or against, but like I said a few seconds ago, the most important thing here is for us to listen carefully and to go back and read more after this particular series so we can understand why this is very important for us to know how this affects us as Yoruba race. And I'll be introducing my co-host for tonight. I have Baba Bakari with us tonight as moderator, as well as Madam Ajoke Ade, who is always here with us as moderator as well. And of course, we have Mr. Jolomi, who is on space as well, who will be helping us with moderating your calls, as well as you coming on stage to speak. We will also have Madam Ajoke, who is behind the scene, running our social media platforms, where she's commenting and communicating with our audience. And finally, I would like to introduce to you the speaker for the night, the president of TYF Worldwide, Are Oladimeji Bolarinwa. Are, are you ready to give us a superb lecture tonight?
Yes, I'm ready.
Time, so we have daylight saving.
I'm ready. Can I proceed?
Go on, sir.
Thank you so much. I greet everybody in the name of Olodumare. Last week, we were not here due to I was not here live, even though past lectures was given to us was played. I really want to thank each and every one of us for making it today to listen to this brilliant, wonderful space. This particular space is the best geopolitical space in the world that looks at things from the Africanocentric point of view and from the Yoruba point of view as regards to geopolitics and what is happening in our world. I want to say something. West Africa is changing. The world is changing. The world in 2025 is different from how our world used to be last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or even 40, 50 years ago. But unfortunately, I do not think our political elite are actually paying attention to the change in the dynamics, the ideology that is driving the politics of the superpowers, which is why Nigeria has gotten itself into a kind of diplomatic imbroglio with the Americans. Firstly, I want to give a shout out to TYF executives that traveled from different parts of Nigeria. Some traveled from Lagos, from Ibadan, from Abuja. They traveled and flew down to Akure, where they participated in the Afenifere Dawn Commission Southwest Summit. And we really, really want to thank them. We really, really want to really commend them. Firstly, we thank Afenifere and Dawn Commission for giving us the opportunity. We also want to thank those who took their time to be able to represent the Yoruba people, be the voice of Yoruba nationalists at that particular beautiful occasion. from the Director of Strategy, Ms. Lola Lawal, to the PRO of TYF, Mr. Lewis Montero Uluwole, to the coordinator of TYF in Ondo State, the Nurse Adedulu, Barrister Sanwo-Olu, the TYF legal director, and everybody who made it there. God will continue to be with you. God will continue to bless you. I am so grateful to be here. I'm so honored to be here today to give this powerful lecture, to give this powerful intellectual conversation about what is happening in our world and what might happen in our world. Um, I'm a little bit under the weather, so I will be taking water from time to time while we have this brilliant and wonderful conversation. Um, there's a big issue that is currently today's topic is the Arabization of North Africa and the Arabization of Sudan and the extermination of Black people in Sudan, and what are the lessons for for Nigeria and the lessons for the Yoruba people. Today's lecture is is one of the few lectures that is not specifically for Yoruba people. Today's lecture is for all indigenous people across the world. Today's lecture is for every indigenous people across the world, one. And today's lecture is for all indigenous people in Nigeria, all indigenous people in West Africa, all indigenous people in Africa. And it is a lesson that the Yoruba people must understand and we must really, really inculcate. I want to say this, the politicians are not going to help us. The politicians are not coming to help the Yoruba race. We are on our own. And because we are on our own, we need to do the needful, which is to fortify ourselves with wisdom and understanding and to be able to navigate this dangerous period. Firstly, tonight we are not here to criticize any religion. Whether you're a Yoruba Muslim, you're a Yoruba Christian, you're a Yoruba, this is not the time for that. This is not the time for humanity and all those things. It doesn't work. This tonight is the night for real politics. And I want you to open your mind and open your heart. Because what we are discussing today is very, very passionate to many of us. It's very passionate it's very important and crucial to the survival of the entire world. As we speak currently, Mali is about to fall. What happened in Afghanistan is about to happen in Mali. The information reaching us is that the entire city of Bamako has been surrounded by Al-Qaeda elements. The Al-Qaeda groups, army, militias have surrounded the city of Bamako. So the capital city of Bamako is about to be captured. And if it is captured, that will be the third country that has fallen in the past 4 years into the hands of groups that are called terrorists in the world. I'm going to give the first one is the Taliban, the capture of Afghanistan by Taliban. For many, many years, many of us saw it on news, how Western media, local and both international, have always painted Taliban as a terrorist organization. Taliban is always categorized within the ranks of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and other Boko Haram and other so-called quote-unquote terrorist organization. But we saw what many thought was impossible. How Taliban fought against the greatest superpower of this century, which is the United States of America. And not only that, they were able to defeat other coalition forces which were part of NATO, and they were able to take over take over Afghanistan. So Taliban, that was categorized as a terror organization, as a terrorist organization, took over Taliban, and they are currently ruling Taliban. Heaven did not fall. Another example, another second example, also in Asia, was when Al-Nusra Front, which was an affiliate organization of Al-Qaeda, led by al-Jolani, took over Syria and is currently the president of Syria. So Al-Qaeda, Taliban took over Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda has taken over Syria because al-Jolani was a member, a top-rank commander of Al-Qaeda. I did not say this. In fact, up until the time that he became the president of Syria, he had a multi-million dollar bounty on his head, placed on his head by the American army. So what is happening in Mali should scare every single one of us. Because once Mali falls, the entire West Africa, we now have a terror organization in charge of Mali. So-called terror organization in charge of Mali in the 21st century. And let me now tell you, in geopolitics, there is no morality. We see right in our faces how al-Jolani, who was part of Al-Qaeda, is now being seen as the legitimate ruler of Syria by America, by Britain, and even Western power, from even Asian powers, from China and to Eurasian power to like Russia. So don't think, because it has happened in the past 3-4 years. We live in very dangerous times. It has happened in Afghanistan. It has happened in Syria. If Mali falls tonight, because we are really praying for the Mali for the Malian authorities. We are praying for them because we are praying for them that they are able to survive. But the news we are getting is very dire. The entire city of Bamako is surrounded. All the major cities have been taken over by Al-Qaeda. Mali is going to fall any moment from now. If Mali survives, it is going to be a great victory for African civilization, for indigenous African civilization, because Mali is the seat of indigenous African scholastic achievements. The first university in the African world, like the University of Jena, University of Timbuktu. So Mali is extremely important. And that was where Mansa Musa built one of the most prosperous, glorious empire ever built by mankind. And when it falls, it means Al-Qaeda now has resources. It has the legitimacy to now declare war and now be backing non-state actors that are already waging brutal war against the Nigerian state for the past 16 years. So I have to say this so that many of you understand, because there's a media blackout, because they do not want a lot of people to panic in West Africa about what is happening. So this is what we are currently facing. According to different research papers, the Sahel of West Africa is the most dangerous place on earth as we speak. For many years, we used to think it is the Middle East. For many years, people used to think the Middle East was the major problem of the world. When people hear the Middle East, there's a kind of phobia. There's a kind of terror that comes into our spine. But as we speak, the Sahel is far more dangerous than the Middle East. And what do we call the Sahel? Sahel is just the buffer between the Sahara Desert, between North Africa and the tropical West Africa. Many of these places are the seats and the base of many great empires, caliphates, and civilizations in Africa for the past 2,000 years. And the Sahara spreads right from the shores of the Atlantic Ocean, from Mauritania, straight into Sudan, straight into Ethiopia and Eritrea, into the Indian Ocean, the Red Sea. That is what we thought, that is where the Sahel is. And for the past 400, 500 years, what we've seen in history, in anthropology, in geopolitics, is that anything that affects the Sahel affects the entire West Africa. It pains us, and many of us are afraid that most West African states are not prepared for what is coming. Our political elites are still interested in politics, in politicking, and trying to be politically correct together with their followers who think everything is politics. And they do not understand that we are talking about a life and death situation that we currently face. What about the youth? I want to say the truth. The current youth, the Gen Zs, they are one of the most fortunate demography in the history of the human race. It is in their lifetime that technology and human capability in the field of science and technology is increasing by leaps and bounds. But the reality is, despite all these things about them, they lack the basic knowledge of geopolitics. And the Gen Z youth have become the cannon fodders of destabilization across the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to give you an instance. There's a Yoruba proverb tó sọ wípé ọmọ tí a kọ́ ló máa gbé ilé tá kọ́ tà. A children that we do not train is going to destroy the house that it is going to sell the house that we built with our sweat. You look at Mozambique, it is the Gen Zs. If you look at most of the places where coup d'etats have taken place, all across West Africa, all across Africa, it is the Gen Zs that have always started what they think is revolution. They create anarchy, they burn properties, and they create chaos. Finally, which leads to instability. Because that is the only way that they think they can pass across their aggression. Because most political elites in Africa, I used to think it was a Yoruba problem or a Nigerian problem. Now, with what I've seen for the past few years, I now know that it is a Pan-African problem. So what do I mean by a Pan-African problem? The elites are totally not in touch with the people they are governing, which has led to the continuous destabilization and youth restlessness that have now given rise to coup d'etat opportunistic elements who are also plain robbers. I'm talking about these career soldiers that have now taken over many places, many governments in Africa, from Mozambique to Guinea, from Guinea to Niger, from Niger to Mali, from Mali to Guinea, from Guinea to Burkina Faso. We've even seen young people trying to do PR for hardcore dictators in the name of trying to create revolutions all across West Africa. This was how majority of the African countries, after they got independence, post-1950, one after the other, destroyed the nascent democracy they had, and they destroyed themselves. And Africa became a poster boy for misgovernance, backwardness, and misrule. So if you're listening to me, especially Yoruba Gen Zs, we must never listen to those that continue to tell us, let us go and burn down things. You burn down things and who is going to take over power? Because I'm going to tell you what happened in Sudan. It was the Gen Zs in Sudan that organized the protests that destroyed Omar al-Bashir and which led to the emergence of these two generals, al-Burhan and Emeti Dagolo, who are currently fighting one of the most bloodiest civil war in the history of Africa. So we, the Yoruba Gen Zs, we must be very careful at this critical moment. There are people who want us to be cannon foders, just as the way Hausa Talakawas, just as the way the Yoruba Talakawas of the Oyo Empire were used as cannon foders for the destruction of the Oyo Empire, and how the Hausa Talakawas were used as the destruction of the Hausa city-states that handed over their birthright to foreign Fulani rulers that have kept them in that particular situation to this present moment. Now, let's talk about Trump and Nigeria. Is it true that there is a kind of genocide in Nigeria? I'm not talking about Christian genocide or Muslim genocide or human genocide. Do we even have any form of genocide at all within Nigeria? I'm asking a rhetorical question. Search your hearts. The politicians that are telling you to do PR, giving you money for data and say, oh, let us shut it down. You are wasting your time because you are talking about America. It is not just one mushroom country that is talking about this. The greatest country on the surface of the earth, the United States of America, is the one that is talking about genocide within Nigeria. What I thought the Nigerian government should have done was not all this trying to be politically correct. What the Nigerian government should have done was to take the criticism and start leading by example and cracking down on religious fundamentalist hate preachers within the Nigerian space, especially in the core north and anywhere they have within Nigeria. Is there genocide in Nigeria? Is there Christian persecution in Nigeria? Unfortunately, we all know this, that there is no Christian persecution in the southwest of Nigeria. There is no Christian persecution in the south of Nigeria. There is no Christian persecution in the southeast of Nigeria. But do we have Christian persecution in the northwest of Nigeria? The answer is yes. Do we have a Christian persecution in the northeast of Nigeria? The answer is yes. Do we have Christian persecution, killings in the north central of Nigeria? The answer is yes. It is not in my words, but in the words of General T.Y. Danjuma, the former chief of staff, that elder statesman, who not the first time, the second time, the third time, and fourth time, a whole general who fought in the Biafran War and fought in several wars in several wars across Africa, who are one of the fathers of the Nigerian nation, crying and telling innocent Nigerians, especially helpless middle belt farmers, to arm themselves and defend themselves against Fulani bandits, militias that are killing, maiming, and destroying lives and properties in tens of thousands, unabatedly. And our political elites, the federal government, the state government, seems helpless to the situation. I have said this several times. that there are some problems that President Tinubu cannot solve. In terms of policy, there are some problems in Nigeria that policy is going to solve, and there are some problems in Nigeria that we need structural changes. Nigeria, a lot of things is happening in West Africa, and Nigeria is not prepared. I said Mali is about to fall. Burkina Faso is almost ungovernable. Niger is currently arming militias. Is arming different tribes to be declaring war against Al-Qaeda. Nigeria is currently fighting a brutal war of 15 years. Over 15 years against Boko Haram, ISIS. And there are different from Wula Wula to Lakurawa to JNIM to Ansaru to all sorts of terror organizations. Nigeria has more terror organizations than it has car companies. The way things are, and they are all within the northern parts of Nigeria. Our gallant armed forces are fighting left, right, and center. I'm using this opportunity to really thank the Nigerian army, because without them, many of you listening to me today will be in IDP camps. Many of us will not even have this opportunity to even address anybody. They are the reason why the country has not gone the way of Sudan. But I want to say one thing. It is better to buy books than buy bullets. I have said this several times. I gave countless lectures. But there is one thing I've seen about the Nigerian elites. They don't listen. Do we really want to buy books, or we want to buy bullets? The children will refuse to train in the core north, have taken guns and bullets against us. Our Nigerians are now killing Nigerians. It is the bitter truth. There is an army of radicalized people. They are in government. They are normal people everywhere. The way they think is totally anti-Nigerian and anti-Nigeria. And I want to say this. Many people might think the American government have their data. The American government, look, we need to stop all this propaganda. By thinking America this, America is not going to go to Singapore and accuse Singapore of not protecting the rights of Christians in Singapore. America is not going to go to Malaysia. Malaysia is a Muslim-dominated country, and be saying that they are not protecting the rights of Muslims in Malaysia or Christians in Malaysia. America is not going to do that, because the Malaysian authority are highly responsible. They are not like the Nigerian authority that are playing politics with the lives of innocent people. This is the problem. These are the issues that we need to talk about, that we need to properly sort out, and we need to properly call out. Now, I've seen a lot of people who do not understand what is going on in the Western world. In the Western world, there is a radical shift in the ideology in the Western world. And that ideology is Christian nationalism is back in the Western world. Liberalism, neoliberalism, open borders is gradually becoming unfashionable within the political class, within the political climate of the core north, of the Western world. Issues like multiculturalism is becoming outdated and totally useless within the Western world. So, meaning that they are now going back to factory setting which is not just protecting white interest, Anglo-Saxon interest. They are also protecting Christian interests, because they perceive that they are being pushed out, especially the Christian countries in Africa and in Asia are being decimated and annihilated by non-state actors, which are funded by some powerful countries in the Gulf countries. This is the reality. You can ignore, you can do any form of whataboutism, but this is the bitter truth. We all know that the United Arab Emirates is the one sponsoring the Rapid Support Force, RSF, in Sudan. That is an open secret. We all know that Qatar has been playing a crucial role in the support of Hamas. It is also not a lie that Hezbollah is being funded and supported by Iran. And that is what is currently happening within the political space in the West. I'm also going to go further, especially America. America is the successor state to the mighty British Empire. America sees itself as the successor state to the Roman Empire. America sees itself as the custodian, the bastion, and the police of Western civilization. That is why it calls itself the #1 country in the world. And it is true. But within America currently, the evangelicals, when I'm talking about the evangelicals, I'm talking about the equivalent of the Pentecostals, are the ones that are controlling the politics of America as we speak. Meaning, there are a lot of foreign policies of America that are going to be very, 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 that will be of great concern to countries that are battling Islamic fundamentalism. This is the bitter truth. It is not a lie that a Christian lady was lynched publicly, and the Nigerian government has not prosecuted or jailed or punished one single soul to this present moment. You cannot be having all these things and be saying that there is peaceful coexistence between Muslims and Christians in Nigeria. Nigeria is a secular country. Excuse me. Nigeria is a secular country. And because Nigeria is a secular country, we need to understand some fundamentals. The secularism of Nigeria is the fundamentals on which Nigeria stands. Nigeria is not a Muslim country. Nigeria is not a Christian country. It is a secular country. And Nigeria is a production and a creation of the West. Nigeria is a creation of European powers. This idea of this sovereignty that we love to come and romanticize on social media, we need to be careful about it. I remember when Trump in his first time was talking about Iraq, that there's nothing called Iraq. They created Iraq. They say there's nothing called Libya. They created Libya. And when they talk that way, they feel they have the right to do and undo with all these countries. Nigeria needs to be very careful. We need to do an internal introspection. A country might have so many potentials. It can have great potentials, but it might not fulfill those potentials because of radical elements within its ranks. Excuse me, I'm trying to get a good cup of water, sir. Because of radical elements within its ranks. So, Congo has so much potentials, rich in mineral resources, rich in all sorts of resources. But Congo is currently in a state of anarchy. Somalia has potentials. Potentials is not enough to be great in life. You can have potential and still do not fulfill that potential. Nigeria has potentials. Nigeria has what it takes to be the giant of Africa. But just like Chief Obafemi Awolowo want, that is why some of us, we do not take it lightly when some of our people try to start talking down on Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Chief Obafemi Awolowo want about the future of Nigeria, that without properly defining what Nigeria is, what exactly is this Nigerian country? Is it a unitary system, a confederacy, ethno-linguistic federalism, federated unit, you name it, or a republican system? Or is it a Sharia country? Is it a theocratic country? What exactly is this country? If we do not answer all these questions, we are going to get ourselves into trouble. I feel sorry for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's a very great man. He's doing so much economic reform. But they say we have a big problem, big problem in Nigeria. There is a Nigeria that the Igbos want. Even though they're a landlocked ethnicity, they need access to the sea. They want access to the sea at all costs. How they are going to get it, we don't know. But they continue to make all these frivolous demands by asking a sitting president to take the lands of other people and give them access to the sea. And they are saying it is their right. And in order to fight against marginalization. This is the reality we find ourselves. What about the Connaught that goes about shouting Sharia law, Sharia law, Sharia law, even though millions of its children continue to roam the streets with absolutely nothing to show about it? This is the reality we have. Or what about the Ijaw people that are asking the federal government, the Nigerian states, to take the entire Ilaje land, the entire Ishekiri land, and go and create another Ijaw state for them? This is the reality that we have within Nigeria. Different folks asking for making crazy demands within Nigeria. But we need to understand all this reality as Yoruba people. We should not be afraid because of all these discrepancies. It further validates what Chief Obafemi Awolowo says, that Nigeria is not a nation but a country of nations. So we should be very careful. We must not allow religious fundamentalists to come into our political space. You cannot be shouting one Nigeria and still be advocating for Sharia law. Sharia law has no place in a secular country. You cannot be using Hisbah police to harass people as if we are blind. You are talking about religious tolerance. Oh, Nigeria, oh, Trump is lying. There are more than hundreds of thousands of Hisbah police harassing non-Muslims, harassing the fundamentals. Even if I'm a Muslim, I might decide not to be governed by Sharia. It is my right. I'm in a secular country. But is that the reality that we have in Nigeria? This is the reality. If we decide not to practice democracy, let us stop it and stop deceiving ourselves. And let's declare that we are now a theocracy. This is what we should do, not this hanky-panky game that we are playing. Let's go further as we talk about Sudan today. Sudan means the land of the blacks. How the land of the blacks became an Arab country is another history on its own. The Arabs are not indigenous to Africa. The Arab invasion started around 700 AD, 600, 700 AD. That was when the first Arabs stepped their feet with their army into Africa. And bit by bit, and they were invited when there was a fight between different blocks, fighting about who was going to control and rule ancient Egypt. They came in. That is why never invite outsiders to help you to come and settle your issues. That is why if Yoruba people are having issues, we must never allow outsiders to come into our midst. If we have issues, because that was the mistake we made at Ilorin, Yoruba people having issues. The Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò having issues with the Aláàfin of Ọ̀yọ́, and they started using foreign mercenaries, bringing us externals, and we got ourselves into trouble. Not only was Oyo Empire balkanized, it led to the most bloodiest century in the history of the Yoruba people, where millions of our people went into slavery. Not only did we not just go into slavery, our homeland was balkanized by European powers. After that, we were now forcibly and aggressively colonized. Some of our people started speaking German in Togo. Another group was speaking French. Another started speaking English. And that's how we became Nigerians. Some became Beninois. Another became Togolese. So we need to understand these fundamentals. But so in Sudan as it is a creation of British imperialism. Sudan has always been the base of the old Kushite kingdom. Sudan is a very unique country because that is where this blue Nile and the White Nile meets. It is a place of power. It is like where River Niger and River Benue meet in Lokoja. That is where Sudan, and that area is where the capital of Sudan was built, Khartoum, because of that source of fresh water needed for human civilization in that desert arid area of the world. Like I said, Sudan means the land of the blacks. But the lands of the blacks has now become Arab land. That's why the talk like, oh, this land belongs to us is absolutely useless if you do not defend, if you do not defend your land, you are surely going to lose that land. So Lagos belongs to the Yoruba people. Are we ready to fight to defend Lagos? Ibadan belongs to the Yoruba people. Are we ready to fight to defend Ibadan? Ilorin belongs to the Yoruba people. Are we ready to fight to defend Ilorin? The way we talk, we must never be shy. We must never be timid when it comes to asserting our territory, our boundary, our rights within the Nigerian equation. Kingdom of God suffered violence. We have to take some things and be assertive. Voxi populi, voxi dei. If our political class are not doing the right thing, we must do the right thing. The power belongs to us. Our politicians must do what we want. They have to do what we want. When we finally organize, because the Yoruba people are not a feudal people, we can never be feudalized. Sudan, there used to be two Sudan, Northern Sudan and Southern Sudan. It was amalgamated in 1956. So when people talk about, oh, and Sudan is not supposed to break, there was never one Sudan before. It was the British who wanted to continue the Nigerian experiment, the Indian experiment, because there were three major experiments that the British did across the world: India, Sudan, and Nigeria. India, Sudan, and Nigeria. In India, the British knew that it was almost going to be impossible for the Hindus and the Muslims to coexist within the same country. And I'm not going to go into the politics that they played, because it was just the divide and rule, divide and conquer. For a minority to subjugate the majority, it has to be divide and rule, divide and conquer, to keep them in a perpetual state of docility and servitude. Same thing in Sudan. After the conquest of that axis, especially in northern Sudan by the Arabs, southern Sudan was heavily Christianized by the British. That's why I keep on telling people, I studied British imperialism, and one thing I have seen is that the British do not respect religious brotherhood. Religion is nothing but a tool of British expansionism and population control. They do not use, oh, because you are a good Christian, the British will now prefer you. They do not operate that way. The British Christianized southern Sudan, made them become more Catholic than the Pope. But do you know what happened? When the British were leaving after 1956, because they saw that they've been able to amalgamate the Muslim North and the Christian South in Nigeria, they should be able to do the same thing in Sudan. They did the same thing and they left. And they gave power, intentionally gave power to Northern Sudan. This was the origin of the problem. And Northern Sudan was controlled by religious fanatics, extremists, who saw who saw Southern Sudanese as inferior. It was not just the issue of racism. It was not just the issue of having power. It was the issue of racism. It was the issue of superiority and inferiority complex. And that is the situation we also have in Nigeria, where you see certain elements in the core north referring to the rest of Nigeria or the rest of even the Middle Belt, calling them infidels, kafiri, hane. And that was what motivated many of their political choices. Nigeria cannot continue to paper over the cracks, because we need to have some hard conversations. We need to be able to have strong conversations about what kind of Nigeria are we building, not all these romantic thoughts. The Twitter is a microcosm of Nigeria. We must not deceive ourselves. And Sudan experiment, as we know it, failed, because South Sudan, they saw that they were going to be Arabized, because North Sudan saw the Sudan that the British amalgamated as an opportunity for them to continue their expansionism and their war, which was the conquest towards the continuous expansion and Arab agenda towards Central Africa and East Africa. So, to cut it short, Sudan broke apart. And I want to say this: it was not the British that broke Sudan apart. It was the Americans. And the evangelicals played a crucial role in through via powerful lobbying groups in the breakage of Sudan into pieces. I hope we are understanding what we are talking about. The most dangerous and toxic mix is to have religion and state together. And that is why I have always been an advocate that we cannot afford to have religion and the state together in a country like Nigeria, anywhere in the world. What is happening in America is that we now have evangelical and state politics together. What we are currently seeing in Nigeria, before it used to be Islam, political Islam, and politics in northern Nigeria together. But what we currently have in Nigeria, in Yoruba land, is that we now have what we are currently seeing now is that there's now a result like what we saw, especially during the time of during the last election in 2023. The Pentecostals are now mixing politics and religion also together. This is the aftermath. The way forward is not for us to be making speeches and be doing propaganda. Propaganda is not going to save Nigeria. What will save Nigeria is social justice and doing the right thing. Because Sudan invested millions of dollars into propaganda when it was being exposed how they were trying to spread Sharia law, because many people did not know. And when we try to talk about this, some people don't want to listen because they do not understand. They do not understand. They think one way or the other they can just get away with impunity. What destroyed Sudan was that some fundamentalist radical elements in Sudan wanted to spread Sharia law all over Sudan. And that was what was needed for the fire to spark and for war to start in Sudan. The rest is history. Darfur, in 1914, between 1914 to 1919, Darfur, the sultan of the Masalit people, the four people, these are the indigenous people of that area of Darfur. And Darfur means the land of the black people in the indigenous and local language. There was a choice that should they become part of France, Chad, or Sudan. And the issue of Darfur is over 400,000 square kilometers. So when we say over 400,000 square kilometers, Darfur is as big as is like 5 times, almost 6 times as big as the entire southwest of Nigeria. That is how big Darfur. You can see that huge chunk of land belonging to the Masalites, the four people, black people in that western. Look, there's something about black people I've seen, and I hope that it is not going to be the destiny of black people for us to be exterminated on these hearts. Because the way we reason and the way we behave like as people that are destined for destruction. It is the bitter truth. The way some of us are speaking with passion, I've seen people just talking like as if they have mental issues as regards to what we are currently discussing. I've seen people I respected going about saying there's no genocide in Nigeria. You people have no conscience. This is not politics. There is genocide in the middle belt of Nigeria. I'm still coming there. Darfur is of more than 7 times bigger than the entire Southwest. Belongs to the black people. Now, part of the reason why they fought against the French forces, British forces, they wanted to have their own independent country since 1914, 1919. So their forefathers actually did a good job. In the case of the Yoruba people, so our forefathers actually did a good job. It is this current generation that want to turn the Yoruba people into the case of Darfur. Because the Darfur people walked into a trap in Sudan. They were Muslims, and they've been Muslims for more than 800 years. But they wanted their own independent country. That they signed a deal that by night with the colonial governments of the British and the French. But by 1994, they are going to have a referendum. That was what they signed. So just like the way their other counterparts, South Sudan, also had referendum. But they were so relaxed that the Arabs are our Muslim brothers. That's why I said there's nothing called Christian brotherhood and Muslim brotherhood in geopolitics. America is talking about Christians in the Middle Belt. It was not because the Holy Spirit spoke into. I'm not trying to blaspheme or insult the Christian folks, but it is about the interests. There has been lobby. There is lobby. There are some particular interest groups that has lobbied certain power brokers within the American government who have now said, we are interested in speaking about this crime against humanity that is taking place within Nigeria. So, the Darfuri people, they did not know that the land they were sitting on was a land flowing with milk and honey. By 1960s and 1970s, gold in huge commercial quantity was discovered in Darfur. And these were people that were planning to get a referendum by 1994. And the Arabs, what happened in Sudan was that immediately post-colonial Sudan, political power fell into the hands of Arab nationalists. Arab nationalists clothed with political Islamist supremacist ideology. So that was what happened. That believed that everybody must practice Sharia. If you don't bow down to Sharia, you are going to be killed or you are going to become slave. That was what they actually declared in Sudan. It's absolute madness. Sudan has been a madhouse for a long, long time. Absolute madhouse for a long, long time. And many people that are extremists, most of the people with extremist ideology in Nigeria, most of the people, elites in the core north, many of them studied in Sudan or they traveled to Sudan or they became radicalized in Sudan. This is the bitter truth. That's why I said it is high time, without political correctness, we come to the public, we start saying things the way it is. Because people need to understand what is going on. The Yoruba people are very ignorant. I'm sorry to say that. What we are facing is this is not what we are talking about. And we are now back into the era of the 16th, 17th century. And most of these people you see in the Sahel, let me give you this instance. Sherry, Mali, Burkina Faso, and the northwest of Nigeria, they are the same in terms of the ethnic spread and the ideology. It was part of the Songhai Empire, and it was also part of the Sokoto Caliphate. So the ethnicities that determined most of the power base there, post Songhai Empire, the Fulanis, the Hausas, àwọn ni wọ́n wà níbi mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́ta yẹn. So anything tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ tó bá ti ṣẹlẹ̀ Mali, ẹ máa prepare. Now you saw what happened. There was a coup d'etat in Nigeria. Then you cannot. Once you have a coup d'etat in Niger Republic, you have a coup d'etat in Mali. There will surely be a coup d'etat in Nigeria. Fortunately, they failed. They would have plunged Nigeria into a brutal war. But they don't care. These people don't care. You have to know that you have to be insane to be plotting a coup d'etat in Nigeria, in a country like Nigeria in 2025. You have to be insane. But these people don't care. When I knew they don't care was when they were saying, if you don't give up your land and give it to Fulanis to settle, you are going to be killed. It's either you give your land for cattle colony or we take over your water resources, or you are going to be killed. Was when I knew we are in trouble in Nigeria. Tinubu has been trying to study, but the bitter truth is Tinubu is going to be gone in 2031. We have so many extremists. If not for that, we saw people like Pantami, Malami, El-Rufai being exposed as jingoists, extremists, people that have the ideology of Omar al-Bashir of Sudan. How are we going to know that these are the kind of people we see as the intellectuals in the corners? They would have plunged this country into a state of war, and they do not care. We've seen what they did under Abacha, and they will do it again. So therefore, Sudan is currently the third biggest producer of gold in Africa. It's currently the third biggest. Do you know how big that is? And gold is the most powerful resource in the world. Once you have gold, you can overcome any form of economic sanction. Once you have gold, your economy will be stable. It is the gold of Sudan that Russia was buying and stockpiling that they used to overcome the sanctions of the West when they invaded Syria, when they invaded Ukraine. So therefore, we're supposed to get a referendum where they are going to choose to become part of Chad and part of stay in Sudan or get their country in 1994. By 1970s, the Arabs in Khartoum, once they discovered that there is massive gold, what they did was they started sponsoring banditry, terrorists. Is it sounding familiar? Immediately, the central government, first under the leadership of Mahdi, now later Omar al-Bashir, saw that there is commercial quantity gold, diamond, uranium, copper in that area of Darfur, Kordofan, which was primarily inhabited by indigenous black people, Masilites. I'm going to be saying a sort of gross things. I hope many of you have the heart to be able to listen and get the information I'll be dishing out tonight. Because the evil that has been done in Darfur, I don't think it has been done in any under the surface of the earth. Where I've seen such things is in the middle belt of Nigeria, where Fulani bandits are massacring and killing indigenous people. My conscience is enough. Because this is the reason why we are doing what we are doing. Everything is not politics or political position. They started sponsoring bandits. And who are the bandits that they were sponsoring? They were called the Bagara Arabs. Now, who are the Bagara Arabs? The Bagara Arabs were Arabized Africans. Who are Arabized Africans? Arabized Africans were Africans that were mostly pastoralists and are now speaking Arabs. Many of them are not Arabs, but they become Arabized. So they are in Nigeria. Bagara Arabs are called Shua Arabs. So you see the RSF, the Janjaweed became RSF. The ethnic group, the bloc of the Arabs that are wiping out indigenous people in Sudan, they are also found in Nigeria. They are part of Shua. They are Shua Arabs. I was told that said Abba Kyari is part Shua Arab. And they are the ones that is currently taking over Sudan, taking over that part of Western Sudan and Central Sudan. So there's something called the Bagara Belt. The Bagara Belt stretches from northeast Nigeria, southern Chad, northern Niger, northern Cameroon, northern Central African Republic, and southern and western Western Sudan and southern Chad. That is where you have the Bagara Arabs. So they've always been cattle. They're always cattle herders, camel herders. They are pastoralists. In fact, people used to mistake them for Fulanis. They are pastoralists. And they are like the Shua Arabs that you find in Borno, they are also part of the Bagara Arabs. So why am I dishing out this information? I'm dishing out this information because they have a strong sense of kinship. The Hausa man in Niger understands that he is the same as the Hausa man in Nigeria. You don't need to start speaking English language, trashy, and be shouting think Yoruba first, be shouting, speaking history, and speaking big English before they understand these fundamentals. You don't need to go all this. You don't need to go to this extent. You don't need to continue to speak all this English. You don't. Because they understand these fundamentals. So, the Bagara, what is happening in Sudan, has a reverberating effect in what is going to happen in Nigeria. Ọ̀rọ̀ Niger àti Bombay. Now, the Arabs, Bagara Arabs in Nigeria, their kinsmen are the ones wreaking havoc in Sudan. That is why Nigeria needs to panic. You see, those entire Bagara belts from northeast Nigeria to, unfortunately, I don't have a map here. I would have loved to show you the map. From northeast Nigeria straight to western Sudan were all part and parcel of the Kanem Borno Empire. In fact, a Bagara Arab have once, even half Arab, Al-Kanemi was half Arab. When Bassi, Al-Zubal Bassi, who was a slave trader, he was the one that the French army, imperial forces defeated before they reinstated the Al-Kanemi dynasty. Also, who was also an Arab, was once the emir of Kanem Borno towards the end of the 19th century. So, from southern Chad to northeast Nigeria, to northern Cameroon, to Sudan, to Central African Republic, they are all family members. That is why it has been so difficult for Nigeria to defeat Boko Haram. Because these people are just jumping from one country. They don't need to speak English. They have families across those places. It has been so difficult. for Nigeria to be able to catch them. Because this is not just a Nigerian problem anymore. So there's Bagara Arabs. So the Arab rulers in the central government in Khartoum just gave these people are pastoralists, poor people, they gave them guns. Help us to continue to create chaos here. And they started killing. And they were being funded by Khartoum because they needed to keep Darfur in Sudan. Because Darfur, because the central government was already fighting a brutal war with South Sudan that had most of the oil blocks. Most of the oil wells and the oil deposits of Sudan was in southern Sudan. Now, Darfur is saying it wants to secede legally because that was what it signed. There was a colonial document that by 1994, that's why this issue of I'm a referendum, tọ́ba ti ṣe referendum, a máa gba Yorùbá nation. Ẹ lè sọ pé máa ṣe referendum in the next 3 years. Kí wọ́n máa da so yẹbi tó bá tó lẹ ti máa ṣe referendum. It is where there is stability lẹ ti máa ṣe referendum. Wọ́n ní yẹ kẹ́ ṣe referendum yẹn. If you do not even have the power and the strength to hold your ground and hold that ground, you cannot even get that referendum. Anybody telling you, I can make a referendum, I can make Nigeria, I can make Yoruba nation, I can make nation. They are just deceiving you and lying to you. Wọ́n parọ́ tàn yín ni. Wọ́n parọ́ tàn yín ni. So you need to understand. But no matter the referendum, then pariwo yìí. Because àwọn Darfur tí wọ́n pa bígbà tí wọ́n pa Mùsòrò yìí, wọ́n yẹ ká ṣe referendum 1994. They discovered gold. Gold ni o in huge àgbọ̀ngbẹ́ni. In fact, according to media sources, the gold that is being taken out of Darfur currently has now almost doubled and tripled than what it used to be. So the way now there is killings, chaos, bọ́n ṣe ń pa àwọn èèyàn tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ní Darfur. But òun náà dẹ̀ ní gold, àwọn resources, only one take out of Darfur. Now the question you need to ask yourself, now you look at Zamfara in Nigeria. Ṣé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ Zamfara? That if you go and look at this documentary between the Hausa indigenous people and the Fulani indigenous people, and the Hausa people, indigenous people, fighting against Fulani warlords, BBC ṣe documentary yẹn. And one of the issues tó sọ náà ọ̀rọ̀ gold ní Zamfara. Why is it that ibi tí mineral resources bá wà òun ni chaos àti ogun ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀? Have you asked this question? Why? What is going on? So I will go back to Sudan. That was how chaos started in Sudan, in Darfur. That's why when they say, oh, we've discovered gold in this land, it is always a source of tears. If it's for people in the global south. They discover resources. Maybe if you are white, no problem. But if you're a black man, they discover your resources under your ground. It is you are now a target for extinction. That's why I don't believe in this false performative Pan-Africanism nonsense. That one say. This performative Pan-Africanism lies. Where you are going to see people, oh, America is a problem. America, who told you that Arabs are your friends? Who told you that all black people are your friends? And who told you that all white people are your enemies? Yoruba people, listen to what I just said. Who told you that all black people are your friends and all white people are your enemies? Not all white people are your enemies and not all black people are your friends. You need to understand that in geopolitics. Oh, àwọn Britain and so what? In China, àwọn Asians fi lọ́pọlọ jù wá lọ nìyẹn, àwọn lọ negotiate ni. gbogbo PTSD yẹn wọ́n kó wa lẹ́rú and so what ẹ̀yìn kan náà wọ́n kó lẹ́rú ni. Go there and negotiate as equals. Ẹ má follow àwọn losers, àwọn minority tí ò ní kan ṣe kẹjọ máa ṣe gbé placard. You go and negotiate as equals and get what pays you. In don't work in geopolitics ni kò sí emotions ń bẹ. Bá ṣe emotions wọ́n á wipe out ni. In tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sáwọn Darfur nìyẹn. And any right and human rights tó bá lè defend ní geopolitics is as good as dead. Document yẹn làwọn Darfur ń gbé káàkiri United Nations wọ́n protest. It is useless because kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? The Arab government, not only by saying they should start wiping out indigenous Darfur people, wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní create. That's why let me tell you the truth, brothers and sisters. Torí ẹ̀ ni àwọn kankan wà, them people come under my tweets, under my messages. We need to get out of Nigeria. Many of you, ẹ̀yin gangan ní ìkà. Excuse me. Tí o bá ń ṣe Nigerian government, ṣé o bẹ̀rẹ̀ dáhùn bandit yẹn mú ni àwọn tán ní anti-aircraft missile weapons. People that have been fighting well-funded military for the past 20-30 years. Tí wọ́n ti wà battle-hardened. They know how to fight jungle terrain, tropical terrain. They can fight in the savannah. Ẹ kàn wọ́n jókòó sórí ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì ẹ̀yin tẹ́ pé ikùn yín bí ọmọ yìí ikùn bí 6 months ni. Ẹlòmíì ò lè jọ́ọ̀gì 10 minutes. Á dẹ̀ mọ́ jókòó sórí Twitter. Á ti wà lórí Twitter. Á ti wá sọ̀rọ̀ di Twitter warlord. Àwọn àgbà Yorùbá nation ni. Àwọn àgbà Yorùbá nation ni. We are going to Yoruba nation. Right? That is not the way things are done. That is not the way things are done. You need to understand the situation of things. In fact, we are sitting ducks as we speak. There's not even any form of state police, nothing whatsoever. Anybody to actually capture central power, everybody will fall at the pack of cards. Ká tó lè l'opportunity láti fight back. It will take almost 30-40 years. The reason why the Kurdish people survived in Iraq, the ISIS wanted to wipe out the Kurds. Bí wọ́n ṣe wipe out to àwọn Yazidis. The ISIS wiped out the Yazidis, wiped out the Christians in Syria, in Iraq. The reason why the ISIS ò fi rí Kurdish people wipe out was because the Kurdish people have their own paramilitary force called the Peshmerga force that was battle ready, trained and equipped. Trained and equipped to be able to fight in Nigeria, to fight in the Middle East. Àwọn ni wọ́n jà tí wọ́n defend the Ibil, Kurdistan ní Iraq. Kí lẹ̀yin ní? Social media ní. Many of you don't even understand geopolitics. You don't even know the extent of your land. You can go Kwara. You don't know the Yoruba local government in Kwara. You don't know the Yoruba government. And then that's all on the social media. And you're gonna poking eyes. And then down that select. There's no mentorship. And never bá níbi tó ti ń ṣe Ọ̀yọ́ bá sọ sí Ifẹ̀ bá sọ sọ̀yọ́. Àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ rádaràda tí ẹ kó nǹkan ló kàn lọ́rọ̀ wá sí ẹ̀yin lè máa bá ń bẹ̀. Because you don't understand that we are sitting ducks. ISIS took over Syria. They took over most of Syria. They took over most of Iraq. Once they captured the central power, the only place they could not capture was Erbil that had a form of self-autonomous region and that was ready for battle. They had their own structure to fight. Today, the state police, they want everybody to fall the day they strike. The day they strike. And then if you look at the battle terrain in Nigeria, you need to be scared. Let me tell you what Al-Qaeda is currently doing in Mali. Most of people want to take over 80% of Mali the Al-Qaeda has taken it over. That country is almost as gone. I'm praying for them to survive it because Al-Qaeda must not be allowed in Mali. It is dangerous for us. It is dangerous for us. Mali is not far to Nigeria. Mali is not far to Yoruba land. Mali, okay, let me tell you this truth. Accra to Lagos is more closer than Lagos to Anambra. So all these places like Ogadugu, Bamako, they are no jìnnà. Ẹ̀yin lẹ jókòó tẹ́tẹ́rẹ́, àwọn people yìí wọ́n dáná ní. They move. Lórí ọ̀kadà wọn, straight up ni they are coming. And they are well funded. They are well funded. Because we need to be realistic. Can you understand that, sir? So, therefore, they needed to keep Darfur because of the gold. When you like to keep Darfuri people, what create chaos there. They were now trying to bring in more settlers, Bagara, poor Bagara Arabs. From Libya, from Chad, from Nigeria, from Northern Cameroon to go and be settling in Darfur. Government was giving them guns. They were not creating chaos. Now, before you know what is happening, the Darfur people say, one power now, ẹ jẹ́ ká defend ara wa, ẹ jẹ́ ká defend ara wa, ẹ jẹ́ ká defend ara wa. They stood up to, they started fighting back. That was the excuse the government needed. The government first went in there, they could not conquer the Darfuri people because there was a civil war. The Darfur people also stood up and fought like men. They now do good. Government now officially sponsored, they call them the Janjaweed, devils on us on camel backs. Ori camel ni wọ́n gbé bọ́lé wọn lọ́wọ́. Now, let me tell you what the Janjaweed did when they got to Darfur. So, when they get to Darfur, they enter any city and town. Every male children, whether that male children is 1 year, in fact, women, mothers used to dress for their sons like women in order to be able so that we won't exterminate one. There is no family in Darfur of the Masalites and the Fori people. Tí wọn ò tí pa ọkùnrin mẹ́rin márùn mẹ́fà nù wọn. In Darfur, amongst the indigenous people, there might be let's say indigenous people want to be 2,000. Tipa left me 50. It was total massacre of the male. The Janjaweed, the Arabs, the Bagara Arabs, tí wọ́n import wá láti Chad, láti Nigeria, were basically wiping out male children. So many of the Masalit people tí wọ́n escape kúrò ní Darfur, àwọn tó yẹ pé wọ́n dress, wọ́n dirun sí orí ọmọkùnrin wọn bí obìnrin. Ìgbà tó yá táwọn Janjaweed yẹn wá mọ̀ pé okay, this is what they were doing. Wọ́n tún wá ní pé kán máa tú pampers láti mọ̀ pé ṣé ọkùnrin ni ọmọ yẹn àbí obìnrin. That is what the Arabs did in Darfur for 30 years. That is the Darfur genocide. That was what, and the Darfur were Muslims. They had their own, the sultanate of Masalint. Very powerful sultanate for centuries. It was 1874 ni wọ́n destroy sultanate wọn. So they were a powerful and independent people. Àwọn baba ńlá wọn dẹ̀ jà. Even when the Arabs at the height of the Umayyad, the Ottoman Caliphate, the Ottoman Empire, they survived all these empires. But they did not survive 2025. When they believe, àwọn baba wa jà Èkìtì Parapọ̀ war, Ọ̀yọ́ Empire war, Ogun Òṣogbo war. Let me tell you the truth. You might not survive 2025 bandit war. lẹ́yìn tẹ́ pé ẹ ti jẹ bọ́gà tẹ́ ẹ ti jẹ ìjẹkújẹ you might not be able to survive this reality. Many of you are not even equipped with the mental rigor to be able to decipher what you are currently facing. Ṣáwọn youth leader yín jẹ́ pé PS5 náà gbé fún yín? Àbáwọn tó ń ṣe melting pot, ṣáwọn ló fẹ́ defend yín ni? Àwọn yóò lè defend yín. Wọ́n máa sá lọ ni. Wọ́n máa sá lọ ni. Because they are not there. These guys are buccaneers. They are bourgeoisies. They don't even understand why they are there. In the first place. But torí pé àwọn black Muslims ló occupy ibẹ̀ yẹn, Arab Muslims wipe them off the surface of their hearts. You have to ask yourself this question. But look, now we are talking about Sudan. How Arab Muslims are treating black Muslims. How are Arab Muslims treating black Muslims in Mauritania? How are Arab Muslims treating black Muslims in Yemen? 20% of the population of Yemen are black people, descendants of slaves. How are Arab Muslims treating black people in Iraq? Because almost 20% of Iraq is also black people, descendants of Arab slave trade. How, in fact, gbogbo Muammar Gaddafi tó ń pariwo, Muammar Gaddafi tó ń pariwo, Muammar Gaddafi ò tó ń pariwo. Muammar Gaddafi was accused of racism against black people. How are Arab Muslims treating black people in Morocco, in Libya, in Tunisia? They are being treated as nobody. Now, the Janjaweed have a particular slow word. Tofiman pe àwọn Darfur. That's how you saw the way that they did not even, there's no human empathy. You saw the videos. The way they were killing these black people. Any male must be, because what they know that they are in town wickedness. So they don't want any revenge against them. They are there to take the land. So that was where different militia commanders rose up. So out of these commanders, so orúkọ tó máa ń pe àwọn black people in Sudan, táwọn Arab militias yìí, these Arab militias are not different from bandits. Historically, I understand the tension. Àwọn Arab militias táwọn kan ń fund, is it different from how some state governors and some political leaders, Nick or not, they went to go and import mercenaries, brought them into Nigeria to declare war if Jonathan did not win the presidency. Now, I did not support Jonathan, but I'm telling you something that Tojora won. And the same people are still within Nigeria. You need to understand what's going on. So that was what happened. So Olukotomanpe is Nawab. They used to call the indigenous Darfuri people as slaves. Don't you see people like Bashir Ahmed, fundamentalists, they call the rest of us kafiri. Yoruba Muslims are not true Muslims. They are infidels. That's what they call Christians. They call them infidels, kafiri, and we have a country. Is this a country? We are watching as our youth are getting more and more radicalized. We are not making examples of terrorists in our midst. So the terrorists don't did not fall from heaven. Many of them speak good English. Speak good English. So the Darfur people, within the space of 10 years, the 70-80% of their fighting men were wiped out. Àwọn ọkùnrin yòókù wọ́n sá lọ ni. They don't even wait in Sudan. They won't wait in Chad. They ran away. Many of them are across Europe, across America as asylum seekers. Once the mafia say, who are you? You say you are Masalit, you are 4, and they catch you. Ikú ni. They don't care. Ọkùnrin ni tó máa ti rán ọmọkùnrin pípa ni. That is why you look at the Kurdish people. Àwọn Kurdish forces ní Syria, ní Iraq, àwọn obìnrin wọn lọ sógun. Torí ìyà ti jẹ àwọn Ottoman Empire. They killed a lot of Kurdish people. Àwọn Arabs, they killed a lot of Kurdish people, so they did not have enough men. So àwọn obìnrin wọn náà needed her to be going to war. Go and look at the Kurdish women in the army. Our Jews náà, IDF, their women are also trained to go to war because they didn't, after the Holocaust, they didn't have enough people again. So àwọn obìnrin wọn ní láti lọ sógun. So now let me not talk about the emergence of Dagolo Emiti, who is the current leader of Rapid RSF and the current vice chairman of the Transitional National Council, even though you exist in Sudan. Now, Dagolo was an illiterate. Bí àwọn tòǹpolò tó ti di àwọn tòǹpolò tó kàn di billionaire wọ́n ṣe militancy. They became or àwọn bandits. That is why it is dangerous if any state government kó máa sponsor Miyetti Allah, kí Miyetti Allah come on ní ìbọn in the name of vigilante. It is wrong for Miyetti Allah to be used to police and guide Yoruba people. It is a crime against humanity. It is a repeat of Sudan. One prep the extermination of our people sílẹ̀ ni. Because they were using Arabs, foreign Arabs, to be guiding indigenous Darfur people. And we are no in and out, we can wipe out our indigenous people. We need to be prepared for what is coming. People don't know the RSF is one of the most richest, the most armed military forces on the surface of the earth in Africa. Just from the God, àwọn tí wọ́n wipe out, only one thing ran Kongun. So the RSF, so Janjaweed, àwọn náà pè ní Janjaweed, terrorists ni àwọn bandits ni. Devils was on horseback, loading Janjaweed. And the devils on horseback, àwọn Janjaweed yẹn. So Omar Bashir wá ń lò wọ́n because you cannot arrest them. You are not in the military to wipe out. So they wiped out the Darfur people. Ṣáwọn tí wọ́n ti pa, ṣàwọn yẹn ò tiẹ̀, àwọn tó ti wipe out dànù, wọ́n ti pa gbogbo leaders wọn dànù tán. So kò sẹ́ni tó lè sọ pé àwọn fẹ́ bí referendum mọ́. Kúrò ní referendum. So what now happened was that because they've killed so much people, these Bangara Arabs were now bringing they were telling their people, Emma Boni Sudan, so much land, so much properties to take over. Torí ẹ̀ ni Sudan has one of the biggest IDP camps. The same thing in Nigeria. That is why majority of the people many of the IDP people in the Middle Belt, in the IDP Middle Belt, can no longer go back to their homeland again because that place has been occupied. The same thing happened in Sudan. Because this lecture is extremely critical. There's genocide in Nigeria. There's genocide in Sudan. There's genocide. But we're calling politics. Omar Kanyi. If you are really patriotic to Nigeria, you are surely going to know the life of your fellow citizens is also important. Ṣé wọ́n ṣe èèyàn ni? Image wo lẹ ń protect? Image tó ti wà bàtà àdó. You think they don't know? And we know how this is going to end. Especially with this continuous playing to the gallery. Everybody will get a report card of what we are playing with. Unfortunately, the Darfur people were not lucky. They tried to fight back. It was too late. Kọ́mọ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sáwọn Darfur má bàa ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wa. Òun ni wọ́n fi ń ké tọ̀tọ̀tọ̀ fún gbogbo yín. Ìtẹ́rù tẹ́ ń gbọ́ tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Sokoto, ní Zamfara, ní Borno ló ti dé Kwara yẹn. Òun ló ti dé Kwara yẹn. And you need to be prepared. Èyí ó bẹ́tà kéèyàn fi ọgbọ́n ọlọ́gbọ́n ṣe ọgbọ́n ju kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ìyẹn lọ. Only reason that so that you are going to understand what is going on. You are going to be equipped mentally. This is the mental preparation. Because I don't think the Nigerian government is ready to do anything. By now we should have sorted state police if we have a serious government. We should have sorted state police. And says to Basopon for state police, because the problem, it is not my choice. It's not compulsory. But Yoruba state must have state police. So Omar Bashir, there was a particular guy, man. Emiti was just one of the bandits leader. One promoter. So they now wanted to rebrand. They now wanted to rebrand RSF, Janjaweed. They turned into Rapid Support Force. By the time they now, just like you see what is happening in the Niger Delta, I don't support. They turned Niger Delta militants. These were people that declared war against Nigeria. They now told them to turn it. It's not different from what where did Tompolo have 10 billion naira to be given? That is like 3, 4, 5 months of monthly federal allocation of some states in Nigeria. 10 billion. Look, basically left from Delta states. A warlord. Somebody say warlord. Now I'm not trying to be too, but I'm just trying so that people understand what's going on. And this is not a time to be saying, social media. No, I want you to understand what's going on. That those people you see are bandits here, many of them have become billionaires. They are washed with cash. They have their own army. That's why you see that the state government, the federal government, even the Nigerian military, they are not doing peace meeting with bandits. Those are not bandits. Those are army. Non-state armed army. Social engineering, only one thing, many of you left Europe where things are normal. Things are not normal in Nigeria. Things are not normal in this country. We are lucky that Awolowo has done a good job for us. Bati Damo. Ni Southwest. Because that is the only same place in that country. So they rebranded Janjaweed into Rapid RSF, paramilitary force. Into RSF. And they now promoted a man. They now promoted a man that was never the president. He has never been in any military school, and he became a brigadier general. That was how Emiti Dagolo became a general in the Sudanese army. He was just a bandit who massacred and killed millions of black Muslims in Darfur in order to steal their gold under their indigenous ground. And was also smart. He also connived with Abuan. Now, in order to get out Omar al-Bashir. Now, this is it. Both the current leader of Sudan, Al-Burhan, and Emiti Dagolo, all were both part of the forces that went to annihilate and crush the Darfuri indigenous people, black Muslims, in the 2000s. Because when we pariwo pé 1994 ló yẹ ká ṣe referendum, 1994, this is our land, we are not slaves in our land. Why are you treating us as second-class citizens? Why are you treating us as slaves in our ancestral homeland? Just the way the Middle Belt are shouting. Many of you think the presidency of Tinubu will continue forever. It does not work that way. Don't let your kinsman. If Tinubu tó bá ti ṣe kú tán ti yọ kúrò ní intel kan, look, power is transient. Look at the way Aregbesola became an ordinary person. Nobody even talks about Buhari again. 3 years ago, Buhari was like a god. Was like a demigod. And Emiti, the leader, also called General Dagolo, said all the Bagara Arabs needs to start coming in. Now, places like in Yala, many places in Darfur, Agezina. If you go to Agezina genocide in 2023, 15,000 to 20,000 people were killed in 1 week, wiped out, and millions displaced. As they were being displaced, the Bagara tribes were all over. They are now mass migrating and settled, given salary from the gold, settled, given homes, given land. Ilẹ̀ tó belong sí àwọn black Darfuri Muslims. Is that different from how Native Americans were wiped out in their homeland in America? Is that different from what we are seeing in Gaza or something in Gaza? But because it is happening to black people, nobody talks about it. People are manipulated to shut up. People are threatened to shut up. Have you forgotten? Many of you understand in Timo Ariwota, many of us in Pa. When our people were killed in Kwara State, you saw many special advisors threatening people on social media not to talk about it. Nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. You are threatening people not to complain. Àwọn èèyàn wá ń kú, wọ́n sá kúrò nílùú, wọ́n dẹ̀ tún threatening pé ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀. Until people started speaking out, pé ẹ gbà wá. Wọ́n mọ̀ threatening pé a gbọ́dọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀, wọ́n threatening life wa. It's going to happen to you. It's already happening to us. Àwọn ìkà ló yí wa ká. Wọ́n sọ Yorùbá bí wa, wọ́n pera wọn ní Yorùbá, ìkà ló yí wa ká. It doesn't matter, maybe you are a Christian or a Muslim. It doesn't matter. There is genocide of Christians in the Middle Belt. There is genocide of indigenous Hausa communities that are Muslims in the Northwest. There is genocide of indigenous people in Southern Kaduna. If you don't cover up for politicians that you elected to protect you. President Tinubu was elected to protect me and you. That is the first duty of government. Do not protect him to do that job. Don't let criminals then get away with impunity. I'm talking about people that surround him, that are telling you all is well. When he was threatened, when the life of the president was threatened, look at the way he quickly reshuffled the military architecture. That is what the lives of every Nigerian meant. You should mean. And how do we do it? By saying the truth. The invasion of Africa by the Arabs 1,500 years ago, we thought it stopped. It has been restarted. This century and this millennium is a free for all. And Africa is the last continent. The indigenous people of South America wiped out. Indigenous people of North America wiped out. The indigenous people of North and South of Australia and New Zealand wiped out. Africa and Ikaloku, you saw what the Tutsis did. They invaded and captured two states, North Kivu and South Kivu. For the past 1 year, 2 years, that place is with them now. They're the one administering it. Heaven did not fall. If Nigeria, Yoruba land is captured tomorrow by Al Qaeda, the world will know it's not going to cry for you. People will do marriages, people will move on. This is what you need to understand. And your political elites that are telling you to don't there's no genocide, they will run away tomorrow. They will run away. And all of a sudden, they will become activists. Because that is their surest way to get back into power. I have to stop here. I could not finish the lecture proper. Maybe I'm going to finish next week. But I hope I've been able to pass across the message about what is happening in Africa and what is happening in the world. This is not a call to be panicked, but to panic. This is not a call to hate. For many of you that think, oh, TYF ni, at least you've seen the way we spoke without any fear of favor. That our covenant is with our people, which is the Yoruba people, and to all indigenous people across the world. I will end by repeating what I said in the middle of my lecture. Not all Black people are your friends, and not all white people are your enemies. Ethnic brotherhood will always triumph over religious brotherhood, any day, anytime. Religious brotherhood, it is a tool of imperialism. While ethnic brotherhood will secure the land. The fight for land and resources has taken a new dimension, and we must be prepared. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́ o. May Olódùmarè continue to be with the entire Yoruba race. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀.
Thank you very much, Are, for that enlightening lecture. And I hope everyone took a lot out of it today. Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ máa jẹ́ òṣùṣù ọwọ̀ nítorí àwa fúnra la lè dáàbò bo ara wa. While we are together, we will be able to protect our land and we'll be able to protect our civilization. But if we are divided, then it's going to be a big problem. It's going to be a situation of united we stand, divided we fall. So I would now be transitioning into moderation. And I just want to quickly say, I already apologized earlier. We apologize for not being here last week due to unforeseen circumstances. and we hope that you continue to support us. We're very thankful that you showed up today to support us, and we hope that you continue to be here to listen to all these enlightening messages, and you're able to take something out of it, and we are able to use it to structure our civilization and to be a unit so that we can defend our land and protect our civilization and continue to advance for the next 1,000 years and more. And now I'll transition straight to moderation by handing over to Baba Bakari, who will be moderating alongside Mr. Jolomi. Baba, are you ready? Hello there.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I think I see Ellen Mosho of Abuja coming up. And while we're waiting on that, let's see, we have about some 11 comments from the comment section. Not really much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's hear from okay. Is it up yet? Okay, yeah, he's here now. Oh, okay. I think it dropped. Okay. Ẹ kálẹ́ o, ṣe lè sọ sókè díẹ̀ ẹ jọ. Ok, à ń gbọ́ yín bẹ́ẹ̀.
We can't hear him, sir.
Oh,
We can't hear him at all.
they can't hear you. You have to speak louder. Ní láti sọ sókè dáadáa, àwọn ò gbọ́ yín dáadáa.
There's nothing coming out from that end.
Hmm.
Okay.
Can you hear him now?
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, ẹ máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ, wọ́n ti ń gbọ́ yín sí, wọ́n ti ń gbọ́ yín.
Ààrẹ fún gbogbo akitiyan àti ìdókòó lálàjọjọ wọn lórí pé everybody wà enlightened. And like I was trying to say earlier, that if I miss a live lecture, ẹ láwọn recorded speech kan tí mo lù tí máa ń dẹ́mọ̀ wọ́n pé tó bá recorded báyìí. Bàbá tún ṣe recorded speech so that for this students in this class, they can also come back to listen to it. And I want to speak this. Teachings, and the first one is I'm a media person. I'm a registered member of the Nigerian Union of Journalists. I work with a media house, and as a presenter, as a TV presenter myself, I kind of shows that we run and all of these things. And we talk about current affairs issues. You know, Mabuya, one of these things, because as tomorrow my office, don't be sure I will be answering myself and presenting to my academy, the presenter myself. I'm going to be talking about fiscal genocide led by Donald Trump and other aspects, particularly about Donald Trump's answer to the federal government of Nigeria. And I don't know if you will be chance to reassert so that you come and share your views and thoughts about, because I wanted to be shooting such that even people who have learned Christianity and all of this and Islam can also listen to it and learn from it together. From number two, Bashir Kurawajo, TYF, I don't know. I have probably TYF something in Abuja here. I don't know how active is the TYF Abuja chapter or Abuja branch. How active is it? Because I would love personally to participate actively in the fact that whenever we are having conferences, conventions, and all of these things, we can also start mobilizing ourselves also in Abuja. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, ààrẹ ṣe gbọ́ ìbéèrè tí arákùnrin Ẹlẹ́mọ̀ṣọ́ béèrè.
Ok, ẹ ṣe wọ́n ní mo fẹ́ ẹ jọ̀ọ́ mo fẹ́ ṣàlẹ̀ clarify wọ́n nípa àwọn jẹ́ journalist ní ibo nìyẹn o ní platform wọn nìyẹn ní ibi iléeṣẹ́ wo nìyẹn.
For the state itself, with the best of the nature, my explanation with the language, kind of the information that is needed. Yes, sir.
Okay. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ṣé ẹ lè bá mi gba contact wọn Mr. Bakare.
I will do that. All right, I'll do that.
Okay. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ti Abuja náà a máa reach out sí yín ṣẹ gbọ́.
Ṣé gbọ́ Mr. Lemosho, Abuja, a ní àwọn èèyàn l'Abuja tó okay. A ní àwọn èèyàn tó wà on ground l'Abuja, yes. So a máa reach out sí yín bóyá máa kàn yín lára ṣẹ gbọ́.
No problem, sir. No problem, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, I don't think we have any other question. N fẹ́ béèrè nǹkan kan ààrẹ.
Before you ask
Ǹjẹ́
that,
okay,
can I quickly tell everyone the number to call? It's
okay.
234-901-057-5121. That's the WhatsApp number to call to be able to engage us. Thank you. Okay, go on, sir.
Yeah, ààrẹ. Ṣé ẹ ń gbọ́ wa?
Wọ́n gbọ́ yín sà.
Okay. Mo kàn ní kí n béèrè ni because the way this our space tonight, àwọn information tó ń fún wa lálẹ́ yìí, ó ní agbára. Èmi lè rò pé one week may not be enough. Mo á ní kí n béèrè ni ṣé a máa continue next week ní àbí
A máa continue next week. We need to properly understand, diagnose the problem that in Sahel.
Okay.
Because what we are facing in Sahel, we are going to be, I'm sorry to say this, that northern border of Nigeria on the northwest and the northeast will be a place of war for the next 100, 200 years. I'm sorry. And General Musa, the last, is he chief of staff? He said for Nigeria to have peace, we must be ready to have a border fence in the entire northern border of Nigeria. He said it. That's the only solution. But for a whole general to come out and say that's the only solution, I'm sorry. The political class are not ready to have this conversation. How can we say cosmetic? And the core north is not ready to it's not even serious with itself. They're not serious. They are more concerned with how they are going to continue to be in power and continue to take all the resources and continue feudalism. And the country is exploding right in their face. Sudan is not lucky. Sudan was won. Let me tell you the truth. If Southern Sudan was still in Sudan, there will never be a kind of that war between North Sudan and East Sudan and West Sudan. It will never happen. There will never be when South Sudan was in Sudan, the entire core North in Sudan, they came together and they were destroying and killing the South Sudanese. In fact, there was no revolution, there was no protest. To protest was haram, because they feel that because they were Arabs, they were the superior race and they were superior Muslims, they could subjugate and annihilate the black Christians. But when South Sudan left, what happened? They descended on themselves now, tearing themselves into pieces. Because right in Sudan, the Eastern Arabs see themselves as superior Arabs than the Western Arabs. So it's a multi-layered and complex issue. Both parties, both Al-Burhan, the leader of the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and General Dagolo Emeti, both of them are illegitimate rulers of Sudan. Now, let me now give you one statistics that people don't pay attention to. Number one, Somalia has been broken into pieces, 3 parts, since the 1990s. Heaven did not fall. There is Somaliland, there is Mogadishu, where a caricature government is, and there's Puntland. That's number one. Number two, Libya àti pín sọ́nà méjì. Some place is being ruled by somebody backed by Turkey. Another place is being ruled by another person, another group backed by UAE. Ó di mélòó? Ó di méjì. 3. Sudan is currently broken into pieces. Sudan, as we speak, is going to be broken into pieces, except a miracle happens. The same thing with Burkina Faso. The same thing with the Central African Republic. The northern axis is being ruled by a section is being ruled by the Seleka forces. Another part is being ruled by the anti-Balaka forces. You look at Congo. A part of Congo is being ruled by M23 rebels. Another one is being ruled by by the government in Kinshasa. And heaven did not fall. To move on. The same thing, look, the same thing in Cyprus. There is a part in Cyprus that is being ruled by a Turkey-backed government, a backed bloc. Even though it's not generally accepted throughout the world, but they are being ruled. And they've been existing like that since the 1970s. Lebanon, Syria, àwọn Kurdish wọ́n ṣe tiwọn. Àwọn central government náà ṣe tiẹ̀. Àwọn Druze náà ti ń ṣe tiwọn ní Syria. Lebanon, ìyẹn náà ti wà sectarian ni. Shiite ó ń ṣe tiẹ̀. Broken into pieces. You go to Iraq, the Kurdish, they are controlling Kurdistan. It's like a country within a country. It's already happening left, right, and center. Left, right, and center. Right in our lifetime. Countries are actually failing and falling apart. There are so many countries that are broken into 4. And it's a matter of time. In the next 30, 40 years, with the rise of a multipolar world order, a particular region in a particular country, only pro-Russia, only pro-China. That's what is happening in China. That's what is happening. People are talking about UAE. UAE nìkan ló God it's UAE yọ kúrò ní Sudan ní Darfur. UAE nìkan ló ń kó ni. There surely will be powerful backers in the Western world. So near Erefe, what we are currently seeing is the collapse of the 1884 Berlin West African borders. Is the collapse of the Westphalian states. We are gradually going back into the age of empires and Christian nationalism, Islamic nationalism. There's Islamic Puritanism, Islamic nationalism all over the world. And now there's also Christian nationalism that is now combating it. It's already happening. Before, Western world, what they talk about is democracy and rule of law. Now, they are talking about democracy, rule of law, and Christianity. It is dangerous. States like Southern Kaduna is going to explode. countries like Nigeria is going to explode. Let me tell you the truth. The base of Pentecostalism in Nigeria, in the Africa, is Nigeria. The power of evangelicals in the whole of Africa, Nigeria lower. And the power of ultra-Sunni Islam in the sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria lower. So we are set for a showdown. Serious showdown. It's Peter Obi dánwò ní 2023 yẹn. Ẹlòmíì ṣì ń bọ̀ wá lò again. Some people think it's all. That's why I said we don't have many of our politicians are terrible. What they should have done, proper conversation about how Nigeria should proceed. Ó ti show pé wàhálà ti wà. And I'm sorry to say this. When they say Christians in Nigeria, Sherry, Middle Belt, our Northern Christians, Christian identity is superior to ethnic identity. Christian identity is superior to ethnic identity in the Middle Belt. Why? Because many of them became Christians as a way, a rebellion against the feudalism and slavery subjugation of the Sokoto Caliphate. In fact, there is another local example very close home. Shao ni Moro local government, Legbe Ilorin. Many of them converted Yoruba to Yoruba. The people of Shao converted to Christianity as a way to counteract the Ilorin people who believe that they are the custodians of Christianity, of Islam. So talk about the Christians saying, will tell you what's up, you want to lord over us via Islam. That's how Shao, that's why I laugh when they tell us, Emirate. No, politics then low. Shao is not under your Emirates. And it will never be to the end of time. We are never going to miss words anymore. Because we must be very strong at this moment. And we must be prepared. If Libya has fallen, Central Africa has fallen, Sudan has fallen, Chad is gone, Niger gone, Burkina Faso is gone, Mali is gone. Many states, one at the Fulani bandits, when they are killing generals, they are killing the deputy speaker. They are as powerful as I'm sorry to say this. The states are now begging these people to be giving them money and be begging them for peace. Sorry, we are in trouble. And they are opening several fronts. If they are not opening fronts in Kwara, they are in Kogi, from Kogi in Taraba. So the only buffer states don't protect the southern states. Only one currently, the one destroy lower. After then, it is tsunami, and we are playing politics. This thing is ethnic, is an imperial agenda by some ethnicities in Africa. That's why I said, if you are a Fulani, you are not part of this thing, you must speak out. Cannot be a Fulani and be saying they are no. And we are not attacking. That's why this is not an attack against Islam. We are not attacking Islam. We are attacking some ethnicities like Arab expansionists that have mastered the act of using religion as a form of expansionism. Meanwhile, it is Arab imperialism you want push. Same thing as the Fulanis. You post not from Madero to the one try in 2023. So, what question is that?
Ṣé all right, thank you very very much. A ṣì ní ẹnì kan síbà ṣé ká tún ṣe ṣetán láti tún listen sẹ́ni
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni,
kan sí.
more questions, more questions.
Okay, okay. Ọmọlẹ́yìn Ọ̀rúnmìlà, ó yá, ààrẹ ń gbọ́dọ̀ yẹn béèrè yín.
Ade. Sorry, sir, we can't hear him. We can't hear him, sir.
Wọ́n ní kẹ́ ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ sókè díẹ̀ sí o pé wọ́n lè gbọ́ yín.
We still
Báyìí
can't
kọ́.
hear him.
Wọ́n náà tí ì gbọ́ yín o.
We can't hear him, sir.
Wọ́n náà ti gbẹ́nu sí spíkà dáadáa o.
We can't hear anything. There's nothing coming out here.
Mr. Bakare Joy, ṣé on mute mic yín lórí ẹ̀?
It's not blocked. It's open.
Yes, it's open.
Yeah.
I think I heard him.
You heard him, right?
Yeah, but I can't hear anything anymore.
Okay. Ẹ bá sọ̀rọ̀ yín lọ sà bí a máa gbọ́ yín sìn.
No, can't hear anything, sir. Everything is all quiet now. Is he still speaking, sir?
It's speaking.
Well, we can't hear him at all. Go on. Okay, we can hear him now.
Christian genocide. There were just the genocide against bí kọtún ìfẹ́ bí wọn ṣe Amẹ́ríkà ló lè lọ nínú nínú àwọ̀tí gbogbo ìjìnlẹ̀ states láti dẹ́kun genocide ní ọ̀dọ́m ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Penal Center àti other places. It's in the preparing thing about the shape US government ló lè save one àbí báwo affected.
Mr. Bakare, ṣé ẹ lè bá mi repeat question wọn?
Ìkan náà ń béèrè ni pé ṣé ìjọba Amẹ́ríkà wọ́n lè ràn wá lọ́wọ́ nípa ọ̀rọ̀.
Olódùmarè àti ara wa la máa gbára wa. That's all.
Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ tó ọ̀gá ẹ ṣeun gan ni. Thank you very much, sir. Good work, Adam. Yeah, ẹni sùúrù ọmọlẹ́yìn Ọ̀rúnmìlà ṣé ǹjẹ́ ẹ tún ní ìbéèrè kankan tó fẹ́ béèrè ẹ jọ̀ọ́? Okay.
Okay, can we go to the next speaker, please, sir?
Tẹ́ bá dé lẹ́wìn a máa padà síbẹ̀ yẹn ṣe gẹ́tì mi sìn. For now, kò tí sí any information kan bẹ́ẹ̀ sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. Good work, Adam. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I thank you for the lecture today. Like you spoke more about the passion you're really. My question is, Shay, do you feel like Tinubu is understand, like is able to grasp what is going on? Because the way he's moving and he responds to everything doesn't feel like he understands the geopolitical and the ethnic aspect of this whole thing. Like that's my question. The other question is like, what is delaying the issue of state police? Because, and do you feel like the culture in Nigeria at this moment is going to save us from from the calamity that we're seeing now, because it's as if like some people are facing a problem and trying to dump that problem on other people's head. I don't even think it's see it that way. Like, and restructuring solve the problem, like, and create Yoruba in the short term.
Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀, Mr. Adam. Ẹ bèrè ìbéèrè ńlá. Wẹ́, kò ń ṣe gbogbo ìbéèrè ló ní ìdáhùn. But I will tell you that fingers are crossed and we are observing. Fingers are crossed and we are observing. But no matter what happens, just the way the Kanuri youths, I'm sorry to say this, it was the Kanuri people. Boko Haram should have taken over Maiduguri. It was if you know the number of thousands of Kanuri youths that have died in Borno, they don't give them their flowers. These people, local hunters, men and women, they were the ones that chased Boko Haram out of Maiduguri. So, just like General T.Y. Danjuma said, a general knows what that's a four-star general. You understand what he's talking about? There's a limit to what Tinubu can do. Because we should be thinking post-Tinubu currently. If Mali is on the verge of falling, because what is happening to Mali is what has happened to Central African Republic around 2020, 13, and 2014. So there is, I'm sorry to say this, the more the Gulf countries are getting powerful and richer, they are still rich. They can fund anything. The more Africa is getting destabilized. Because you go and look at many of our sponsors, Boko Haram, many of them are coming from the Gulf countries. Dubai, Qatar. Ibẹ̀ náà ti ń arrest wọn, náà ti ń trace funds yẹn lọ síbẹ̀. That's why I said we need a social re-engineering of Nigeria. I'm not trying to say North needs to be socially re-engineered. We need to stop the Almanjiri education. We need to secularize the North. They cannot continue to practice Sharia law, they must separate religion from the state. What is the educational curriculum? They need to censor what are the churches and mosques preaching. That's what can give us a chance. If not, we'll just be fighting wars and fighting wars and fighting wars. The world has changed. The period of liberalism is dead. Even liberal parties, you look at Labour Party in the UK, they've become extreme conservatives. There's no difference between there's no difference between the policies of Labour Party and the policy of Kemi Badenoch. Díẹ̀ ni Labour Party fi yàtọ̀ sí Farage nsìn. So the world has changed. But because of the political class that Africa is bedeviled with, we're in trouble. And when I say the political class, I'm talking about from the top to the bottom. It's so corrupt to the youth. It's full of hypocrisy. And and the reason why it is that bad is because of the educational system. That is why the youth have become rebellious. They want to change things, but they are doing it the wrong way. That's why they've become, they no longer respect the elders anymore. So, ọ̀rọ̀ Tinubu kọ́ leléyìí o. Ọ̀rọ̀ kí Yorùbá mọ tó ń ṣe ni o. That is why a platform like this needs to survive. And please, this is my last speech. I'm begging the thousands of people watching us across the world. TYF needs your help. We need your help. If you have skills, video editing, website design, administrative skills, you want to be part of TYF, enjoy my ball. Many people tell everything moderator, many of them are falling sick. But we still continue to move on to be able to produce. I remember the last conference we did in June, that our third global conference. Many of our organizers, they felt sick after the entire program. Yoruba ronú tẹ̀ ń wò yìí, ẹ̀mí wa ti fẹ́ bọ́ sí. The day-to-day running of TYF, apart from the financial obstacles that we have, we also have. Don't forget, this is not full time. We literally have to work 18 hours a day, part of our daily job, and this as full time in order to be able to do this. So we need help. It is true, young men and women, innocent Yoruba men and women, that's why TYF is functioning. In any way we can assist us, please assist us. We are not too arrogant to help, to ask for help. Please, you want to join us? Visit our website, www.thinkyourbafirst.org, or message some of the moderators, the host on Twitter, or our handle. Message us directly. I want to join TYF. This is what I'm going to do. Hey, Joe. These little things will be very critical if the Yoruba people are going to survive or we are going to head up as Darfur. God forbid. Ẹ̀bẹ̀ ni mo bẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin tí wọ́n ti sọ̀rọ̀ tó le fún lónìí, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú sí mi. Olódùmarè á ràn wá lọ́wọ́ o. A ní ṣì sọ o. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò dẹ̀ ní parun. Ẹ̀yin ìyá mi, ẹ̀yin bàbá mi tẹ́ wà lórí ìkànnì. Mo kí yín o. Ẹ rí i pé mò ń wúkọ́ díẹ̀ ẹ̀yin èèyàn tẹ́ ń wò mí. Mo ní àìlera díẹ̀ ni, ṣùgbọ́n mo dúpẹ́ pé ẹ ní bínú sí mi díẹ̀. Ẹ ṣé púpọ̀ o. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní parun o.
Hi,
Thank you very much. Yeah, Madam Olakoju, please go ahead.
it's Madam Ajoke Ade. She says she wants to ask a question, so I don't want you to forget her.
Okay, sure.
Well, thank you so much. Eshegun. Are Eshe, that was a very powerful lecture tonight. Eshegun, thank you so much, like always. Are ìbéèrè mi ni pé àwọn political class ti ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ṣé ẹ tiẹ̀ lérò pé wọ́n understand nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀? For example, this Sudan thing tó ń go on, ṣé wọ́n understand the connecting sí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá? Ṣé ó tiẹ̀ yé wọn rárá? Ìyẹn alákọ̀ọ́kọ́. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, is the will there? Ṣé wọ́n ní political will láti ẹ̀ ti help ilẹ̀ Yorùbá kó má fall into gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Nàìjíríà? Because a rí titi Kwara. Ṣé a fẹ́ sọ pé wọn ò ní agbára láti ṣe anything sí ni àbí báwo? Ààrẹ, ṣé ẹ gbọ́ question mi?
Àwọn question ńláńlá tí gbogbo yín bi mí, mi ò ń ṣaríran, mi ò dẹ̀ ń ṣe wòlíì o. Ṣùgbọ́n òun sọ fún adití pé òjò ń rọ̀. Tó bá dẹ̀ rọ̀, ṣẹ́ tí ò ní pa. That's just what I would say. Because àìgbọ́ bíbú lẹ́nu àbọ̀ rẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan máa bàjẹ́ díẹ̀ káwọn èèyàn wa. Advantage ta ni pé a wà feudalized. In tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Yorùbá tó bá worst bíi ti Darfur. Torí ẹ̀ ní consciousness yìí ló fi ń rise. Because lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí, many people tó ń sá láti Benue, tó ń sá láti Plateau, tó ń sá láti Anambra, Enugu, many of these places, Kwara, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, Èkó, Ìbàdàn, Abẹ́òkúta, Sango Ọ̀tà, ibi tó fi ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀sì nìyẹn. So ọ̀dọ̀ wa ti ń di refugee grant tá a mọ̀. Because almost everybody ló ní family ilẹ̀ Yorùbá láàrin wọn. So many of them are just coming in into Yoruba land. To the southwest to be specific. Afghanistan did not fall in a day. Let me tell you, ẹ ti jẹ́ kí n fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀. Okay, ẹ jẹ́ kí n sọ tactics táwọn Al-Qaeda ń lò ní Mali lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. What they did, wọ́n mọ̀ pé àwọn ò ní firepower. So the Malian military, they've lost control of many of the cities and towns very close to Bamako. So they've now reserved their firepower into Bamako. Now, about the Bamako is right down in the south. Ṣé tí àwọn Al-Qaeda terrorists yẹn wá ṣe? They now encircled Bamako. All the major roads that entered Bamako, only one encircle. What they are doing is very simple. But anything be epo, oil tankers are not allowed to get into Bamako. So what they've done, it is not about food. Food is entry, but any oil tanker, jet, gas cannot enter Bamako by road. So the city they've bumped all the electricity supply. If you observe, that's what Boko Haram, ISIS, and everything are doing. They're always bombing Kanji electrical installation. They are doing the same thing in Yobe. Yobe, Borno, every time, no man bomb electricity in there. So they cannot get access. There's no light. And they've encircled it for weeks. And they are ready to be there for the next 2, 3 months, 4 months. Wagner Group, Russia, Ukraine, they've left Mali. France, they've left all this nonsense. I'm sorry, I'm not insulting people. All this performative Pan-Africanism, I don't understand. Humanity dancing. Àwọn nìkan náà jẹ èkuru àtẹ̀kọ́nsìn, àwọn náà nìkan náà dájẹ́ ní Mali sí ní Bamako. And all these people that talk tough, all this, mi ò lè lo ìjáb láíláí. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí n lo jab tí wọ́n bá ṣẹlẹ̀. Ọ̀rẹ́ ẹ̀ tó sọ pé kò lè lo jab yẹn, olóma ọkọ̀ kó sínú, tó máa kọ́ de lẹ́hà, ọ̀sẹ̀ tí lámà lẹ́kù. Tí ẹni rí ń ta mọ́, people will conform. Because what you are fighting, you are up against. These are tested and trusted civilization destroying methods. They've tried it in Constantinople, it worked. They've tried it in Nilotic Egypt, it worked. They tried it in Iberian Peninsula, Asian Portugal and Spain, it worked. They tried it in Egypt, it worked. They've tried it in so many powerful places, it worked. Why do you think it's not going to? They tried it in Iran. As of 1970, go and look at the videos. 1970 is just maybe 40, 45 years ago. Many people that are here, not to be 1970, in Iran. Iran is used to be one of the most secular countries now. I know of Afghanistan. Between 2001 and 2022, the America was in Afghanistan. In fact, Afghanistan ti láwọn rappers. Tọ́nà ti láwọn ti rap ní Farsi, ní Pashtun. Tọ́nà ti rap. What happened? Go to 2 weeks. Tí Taliban take over Afghanistan. Gbogbo àwọn rappers, àwọn kí ni máa ń pè ná? Alága ìbílẹ̀ ṣe máa ń pè kíní kan rappers. gbogbo wọn lọ kó sound studio wọn lọ kó sínú dustbin ni kó tiẹ̀ disappear ni ẹlòmíì gan decide pé òun ò mú microphone lọ́wọ́ mú. That's what is going to happen to many people. Because one decimate ni. So, and there's a blackout in Mali. Lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Britain dìde nǹkan sọ, ECOWAS ẹ̀yẹ kó dá sí. ECOWAS kí ló ń jẹ́ ECOWAS? Ṣáà ìlọ́jà ogun kankan sì ni. Because in táwọn terrorists yẹn ń fẹ́ nìyẹn. They want you to declare war because war is expensive. You go and fight wars, your economy will collapse. Once your economy collapses, you are going to be destroyed. Now in Sudan, ISIS is supposed to pay our fellow Sudan. If you take chaos by war, by even as they operate. So I'm sorry to say this. Africa is up for grabs. And there were borders. They don't see borders. We are on our own.
Yeah, Alexion Gong. I join every member of the backroom staff to thank you very much for brief message this week. I dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín tí wà ní ìsàlẹ̀ tẹ́ ń gbọ́ gbogbo wa tẹ́ ń gbọ́ ohùn wa. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín tẹ́ join wa ní òní. Ìròyìn kàn mí lára pé we are 2,000 that are listening to this space tonight. This is the first time, if I'm correct, Madam Olapeju. As we close, I'll hand over to Mr. Olapeju. Thank you very much for coming to the space tonight. This is just part one. Part two, part two next week. So this is going to be season one. I'm going to continue season 2 next week. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. For the live video view, we surpassed 2,000 views. As of few seconds ago, it was 2,134 people watching us. Thank you for joining us to listen to these enlightening lectures. And we thank you for always being here every single week. We're very, very grateful because this message needs to spread across Yoruba land. And we want you to take every single message you hear here to discuss it with family and friends, and for us to understand wípé àgbájọwọ́ la fi ń sọ̀yà. Àwa Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ ṣera lóṣùṣù ọwọ̀, because that's the only way we can survive. We don't have any other land that we can claim as our own. This is the only ancestral land that we have a claim to, and we have to protect it in order to be able to pass it on to the next generation. And I pray that kí Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè kí ó máa bá wa gbé, kó dẹ̀ máa tọ́ wa sọ́nà, kó dẹ̀ wà pẹ̀lú wa. À la ogun yìí já. We'll pass through this phase and we'll triumph. Ní agbára Ọlọ́run. So we're heading this session for tonight. And once again, thank you for showing up today and supporting this series every week. And we will see you again next week on the same platforms at the same time. But I just need to remind you, it's going to be 8 p.m. UK and Ireland time and 9 p.m. Yoruba land time. Thank you very much for watching us. Àríra ní ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀, ojú á tún ra rí o. Ó dàárọ̀ o.